What is up? What is up? What is up? What is going on, y'all? How the hell are we today? What's going on? What's going on, guys? How are we? Hope it's doing... I hope life is just doing well for y'all. That's all I can really say. I mean, like, what else do you want me to say? Do you want me to ask you how you're doing? I can't reach out to the screen, and I'm just kidding. I don't even know what kind of rant I'm going on. I'm just steadily looking for my music to start real quick for myself before we get into all this shenanigans, shall we? We have, to say the least, a crazy chapter. So, what's going on, everyone? I don't know about Hunter x Hunter, but I'm tagging along. Rocinante, I appreciate that. You definitely don't have to, Greencliff. I appreciate that. It's going to get a little funky for sure, because this chapter, there's a lot to discuss in this chapter, and these chapters get really deep and in-depth with it, with the story and lore. So listen, I mean, lock in if you want to. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will say, it's going to get crazy. For everyone that has been able to parse the chapter together, I just want to say, yeah, everyone is right. This chapter is definitely a huge, exciting chapter to go over. It sets up a lot. It gives us a lot of past things that we didn't know before that change a lot of the perspective of events that happened later. And on top of that, we actually are finally catching up to where martial law is actually happening, which is one of the biggest things that I could possibly get into. But as you guys know, we're going to take it, page by page. I'm going to do my best to go over everything that we possibly can. Furikawa has such a cool ability. Yes, he does. His ability is, I love the way that Tagashi shows the ability for me. That's really what it is. It's just so Tagashi coded and peak. Personally, it really is one of the coolest things. Yeah, I completely agree, but I'm happy to see everyone here. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. It helps the stream way more than my headphones are annoying the piss out of me, but we'll get used to it. So let's not mince any words here. Let's just get into the chapter, because as always, there's a lot to fucking cover. I have, as always, nothing. Oh, you guys are seeing, I just realized you guys are actually seeing my OBS over here. Hold on. Change that. You guys don't want to see that. Nope, you guys don't want to see that either. Yes, this is what you guys want to see. CTP 909, thank you for the gold coin. Appreciate that love. All right, there we go. Oh, we got it fixed. Beyond without knowing Furikawa's ability, just talking, trying to drop Furikawa at every moment of the call. Father of all ages. Listen, he played it big time. What up, Faded Brownie? He has become another one of my favorite characters. Like, Benjamin and Beyond have been like the stars of these last couple of chapters in this batch, and I can't say I'm that upset about it because it really has leveled up. Not that Beyond wasn't already an increasingly insane, like, high level of character, but now it's just gotten that much better, like a huge amount of difference better. So that's why I want to get into it. You guys always know I've got plenty of notes. I've got the whole chapter broken down. And I want to make it very clear, too. There will never be a time in history that your boy will be making use of the slop AI translations. And the only reason I bring this up is because apparently there is this big discrepancy in regards to Chamathi's Nen ability. I thought it was pretty simple to understand, but apparently I guess maybe the AI translation made it very hard to understand, because I got a lot of comments last review saying that, like, oh, you use the AI summary, you're so wrong. Next time, like, don't, like, rush and, like, go through. And I'm like, hold on. Your boy waits until Voracious Drake drops every week, and doesn't even look at whatever piss poor attempt they do at text formatting. You know what I mean? So I don't even know where the misinformation is coming from. But I will say, like Chamath's ability is really Chamath's ability doesn't make sense. If he puts his hand on Yushohi and then he takes it off, and for the duration of the time that he had his hand on Yushohi, he becomes invincible. That doesn't make any sense. Why would that? So he puts him on here. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Holds him there for 5 minutes, and then they have to sit there for 5 minutes, and then he's invincible for 5 minutes. Or no, that's not how that works. Maybe the AI made that hard to understand, or I don't even know. Even in the Viz translation, it's pretty cut and dry and clear. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. There is in no way, shape, or form any possibility of me getting corrupted by the AI translations because I don't read them. So I just wanted to make that cut and dry. I'm giving you as best of a possible interpretation as I possibly can. I would even argue that sometimes, not to say anything bad about the official translation, always support the official release. This is not a market substitute by any means, shape, or form. But Voracious Drake tends to be a little bit more thorough and give notes, and I trust Voracious Drake way more. Like if you want to hire somebody, I would hire Voracious Drake of all people. So. Let's just get into it. Enough of my shenanigans, enough of my, my soapbox issues. This chapter immediately opens up with some Furikov discussion. And we actually cut back in time. So I want to make sure that I understand everything. I get everything correct and ready to go here. It's good to also have multiple translations for multiple for Hunter x Hunter. I completely agree. I completely wholeheartedly agree. But yeah, y'all hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks for showing up, and let's get the fuck into it, y'all. Let's start this chapter breakdown. Lot to talk about. Let's make sure I'm actually where I want to be here. You guys can see me. Fix the camera. All right, let's go. So the start of chapter 415 brings us back to 2 months before the activation of martial law. We are going back in time before we even took off on the Black Whale's voyage. And what this shows us, besides how Furikov's ability works, as you can kind of see here, it's like a little portable computer that even works off a little RPG menu thing, which is the most Togashi-esque Nen ability I may have seen in my life. If anybody was not clear enough of the fact that Furikov is probably one of Togashi's more favorite recent characters to make, this is confirmation of it. But with Furikov activating his ability, the reason he does this is because he gets a big warning message in the fact that a Nen ability has just hit him. And what happened 2 months ago is when the Seed Urn ritual was being undertaken. So immediately my first thought is the curse that Beyond Netero put on his children, that it's meant to be the sacrifices that will target princes, did not activate on the Black Whale whatsoever. Because Furikov got the notification that he was getting strucken by a Nen ability 2 months before the Black Whale even departed. Which means the Dark Aura on Fake Wobble, when they got on the boat, has nothing to do with Beyond's curse and is something different. Most likely, unless it happened later as per, Fake Wobble taking real Wobble's place or anything like that. But that was one of the first things that I specifically noticed. And as Furikov is basically going into his computer and trying to find out why exactly and why exactly he got cursed and who exactly cursed him, he actually finds out a couple of details about the curse that we didn't already know before, which is, one, not only is that Nen curse like insanely complex, it, for one, has a condition pre-built into it that makes the cursor's identity anonymous to whoever can realize it. So if Beyond has taken so many countermeasures for this curse to make sure everything goes through, that the idea of a person that got cursed maybe potentially having a Nen ability that could realize when the curse took effect was literally taken into account of and made into a condition of the Nen curse. So Beyond is his level of manipulation when it comes to condition making and Nen contract making, absolutely ridiculous. Insane. But again, what this does confirm for the curse is that it takes place and activates in the Beyond child, the Beyond sacrifice, the moment that their target prince participated in the succession war and basically was coded into the seed urn ritual. So before we get into a little bit more about these curse ramifications, let's just talk openly about what Furikov does from this point, because it basically leads us into the same, answers to the questions you may have and to what I'm bringing up here. Because something that we also get from last chapter confirmed is Bill was not wrong at all when he was telling Karapika that if Karapika challenged Beyond about the Nen curse, Beyond would be more than willing to just openly discuss it because he's that confident. Because, for one, Furikov, even though the identity of the curse is anonymous, he realizes that, you know what, there's no way this has anything to do with this has nothing to do with the succession war. There's no way. What I actually know is even if this person's identity is false, I know one person in my life who would be as dastardly and evil to put a curse on me that might affect or influence against the princes in some way, shape, or form. Which is literally, Furikov is right on the money. And I don't know if that suggests that Furikov is well aware of Beyond and has some kind of pre-relationship with him. We obviously know that Beyond fathered all of these children, but how heavily integrated was he in their lives? We know that he had to be estranged to some degree to keep that relationship a secret, but Furikov had to be aware of Beyond and know of him and of his personality enough to immediately suspect Beyond, of all people, to be the person that cursed him, right? I don't want to take away intelligence from Furikov here, but the fact that Furikov was like, there's only one person who would do this, I have to call Beyond and get confirmation about this. We also see from Long He, when Long He made the contract with Karapika, that Long He also seems to resent Beyond and see him as despicable, not just for the Nen curse, but just as the way that he regarded the children and the things that he seems to be doing in the background, right? So Furikov calls Beyond greedy. He's the only person he knows that could do this. It suggests that maybe I'm wrong here, but, again, Furikov maybe was a little bit closer to Beyond than most because of his position in, being in Benjamin's private guard, the first prince of all people. But, it makes me wonder, knowing that Unma was affiliated with Beyond, we know that Long He and Furikov, the only two Beyond children that we have confirmed at this point, both hate Beyond. But it makes me wonder, are there any child sacrifices that have been cursed that are actually super cool with Beyond and they're actually on his side entirely and they don't care that he cursed him? They're willing to die for Beyond? Because something that Furikov and Beyond talk about later on is being a pawn and Furikov working for Benjamin. We know that a lot of Benjamin's guards are willing to die for Benjamin. So it makes sense that there would be some of the guards of Beyond that might be willing to die for him, maybe his children. But that's getting a little bit into, headcanon and everything like this, because, again, what makes this very clear is Furikov only found out that this curse took effect on him because of his special ability, Full Metal Alchemist. That's not to say that any other Nen user might be like, oh shit, my Nen activated. Something hit me. I got hit by a Nen attack just now. But Furikov was able to figure out that it was beyond himself and confirm it with his ability and confirm it with the phone call. So how did Long He find out about this information too? Was, as we'll see later, I wonder if maybe there's like a secret conspiracy going on behind the scenes with the Beyond Children. Like maybe Furikov reached out to Long He, but I don't think so because Furikov was suspecting Long He of being silent majority and all that shenanigans. So getting further into the conversation because again, sometimes the answers just lead to more questions. So again, Furikov immediately calls Beyond when Beyond is in prison and goes, hey, look, I know you cursed me. What is going on? Tell me what you did. And essentially, Beyond is like, oh, yeah, like, why would I tell you? You have, like, you know, you figure it out for yourself. And Furikov was like, I figured I'd save myself the effort. And Beyond is willing to play along, as we see with what Bill told him. Beyond loves to, you know, strategize, you know, debate in the marketplace of ideas. He loves to, you know, he loves to mess around with people. And he likes to play mind games. And especially what Furikov has in his inner monologue when he's discussing to Beyond here. Oh, wrong picture. That was for the Kingdom Hearts video. So Furikov is already like, I don't trust this man. He's gonna try to sprinkle in lies inside of truth and all that stuff. And during this conversation, again, Beyond openly admits that he cursed Furikov. He's surprised that Furikov was able to figure this out, but again, he's so confident in his plans, he doesn't care and was willing to openly discuss his plans. He actually tries to like switch the conversation around into like a good thing and be like, oh yeah, you know what? Like I put that curse on you early on in your life. It's essentially harmless. And if anything, if you really think about it, it can be used to actually benefit Prince Benjamin. And Furikov is like, what the hell are you talking about? It can benefit, you know, Curse Benjamin. It's going to kill him. And then, you know, Beyond says, actually, I'm more than aware of Benjamin Baton's ability and how it works. So even though, like, throughout this conversation, Furikov does its best to kind of doubt Beyond and not believe everything that he says, it does ultimately seem like the idea of this counter curse, or the idea of Furikov dying to benefit Benjamin through the curse, was actually almost like subtly planted in Furikov's head by Beyond. Now, again, Furikov says he's not going to be influenced by this, and he's going to try and parse through the, you know, the lies out of the truth. So I think Furikov knows and you know, knows the Nen curse and came to this conclusion himself and was just like, you know what, even though it's the same conclusion that Beyond came to, you know, I don't want to take autonomy out of Furikov and act like he's just being fully manipulated here, but like very subtly, Beyond is slowly pushing Furikov in the direction that he needs to go. That's why he doesn't really care about this conversation, right? He's planting half-truths with potential falsities in them. What Beyond does do in this conversation is he confirms that the Seed Urn is, in fact, the activation for the curse, and that is when, you know, the target is put in place, and that is when the Nen sacrifice, the curse sacrifice, actually immediately, you know, goes in here. Now, you know, as we saw with Furikov, you know, that's when he got the confirmation, everything like that. Beyond claims he really can't share any more information about the curse, that no further interrogation or force can be done on him either to get it. He's like, oh, well, you know what? You can try and interrogate me, Furikov, and, you know, petition to put me in your care, but, you know, I don't really think Nasubi's going to fall for that. I don't think he would allow you to do that, with me being such a key benefactor of letting the succession contest move on, because again, the only reason they're able to get on the Black Whale, go on the voyage to the new continent in the first place, is because of Beyond. So, again, Firikov knows that, you know what, even if, let's say that Beyond is telling the truth here, and he curses me, and this is actually meant to benefit Benjamin in the long run. At the end of the day, not only do I doubt that, even if that is true, this is just going to be some selfish way for Beyond to gain brownie points with the future regime if Benjamin wins when they get to the new continent. Maybe it's because Beyond wants to use the new continent and the new Kaken Empire's nation as a base camp for the Dark Continent trips, or maybe he wants to use that political gain for something in the future later. But the point is that, for one, what's interesting mostly to me is that, you know, the very fact that Firikov is certain that Beyond doesn't know how Furikov's then ability works, right? So it's not like a matter of Beyond just knows how everybody's abilities work in the military because he's so heavily ingratiated with the Kaken Empire. Like, those things are definitely secrets amongst even the, strictest of militaries. However, Beyond knows what Benjamin's Nen ability does. Now, again, Beyond's been in Kaken for 30 years. Maybe Beyond and Benjamin have some level of relationship. I mean, we saw them, on the big announcement and the first ceremony together. Like, we know Beyond has been there for forever. We know he has fathered children there. He even knows people like Cleopatra since they were children, who are now, the heads of the Ministry of Justice. Like, this could also just be because of Beyond's affiliation with Unma too, just to be clear. Like, it could be a lot simpler than I'm making it, but I just want to explore every avenue and open these, discussions up to you guys, because, like, while this conversation gives us a lot of context, it also opens the door to a lot of other possibilities, because Beyond really is an interesting and complex person. The whole idea here that Beyond has just been doing all of this for years and has had all of these pieces like chess, like 60 chess. Like, even Firikov here getting a jump on the curse and thinking that he can just use Full Metal Alchemist to decipher and counter the curse here, he tries to apply his ability to Beyond, and he's like, look, I can just, get positioned next to Beyond. I can stay next to him for a couple days, analyze the Nen curse, and craft some gear that will help me defeat it. But the moment that Firikov punches in the data coordinations for Beyond's Nen ability and decides to get an estimate of how long it would take, Firikov would have to be stationed with Beyond for an entire year in order to actually fully analyze Beyond's curse. And on top of that, remember how Full Metal Alchemist Combo Master works. Firikov can analyze that ability, and it takes a decent amount of that duration, but it also takes a similar duration, if not longer, to then craft the counter gear, which Firikov is like, what the hell? Because not only would it take a year just to analyze, it would take 700 days after that to craft the gear and counter and exercise it. Now, Firikov's like, look, the duration could go down, if it's not that complicated of an ability as it seems. But it's insane that it would take almost 3 years for Firikov to actually concretely counter this with his ability. And this is a really, really funny moment here, because obviously Firikov is doing all this internal monologuing. He's really thinking to himself. He's punching in codes to his, ability, trying to figure it out. And when he sees this, he's kind of like dead silent, because he's surprised that it's going to be that hard to break. And again, Beyond doesn't know what Firikov is doing on the other line here, but that moment of silence is enough for Beyond to, kind of cheekily be like, hey, did I lose you there? You trying to use your ability to exercise my Nen curse, and that's why you're not talking to me? And he goes, hey, just so you know, that curse was installed on you from the moment you were born. It's been siphoning and gaining strength from your aura since the very moment you took breath. So, in a swift moment here, Beyond also explains why the Nen curse is so difficult to exercise. It's almost completely impossible to exercise because the Nen curse has been put into place for so long on these people here. Now, again, there's a bunch of truths here, potentially lies hidden in them as well. So it's important to keep in mind that Beyond is unreliable here. He could be lying. Not necessarily like, again, oh God, I just punched my desk. Not necessarily like lying, but like he could be stretching the truth, lying by omission. He could be employing some level of like subtle manipulation here. But what Furikov is still able to figure out is that if Beyond felt it so necessary to ensure the curse would be that strong over that many years, install an Nen curse at birth, and now Furikov is probably in his late 20s, if not older, then through clever deduction, he's able to find out 100%, it's got to be a Nen user that you're attempting to curse here. If, at least with Furikov here, it's got to be a Nen user. Which basically, you know what I mean? All of that Nen, all of that aura, the only reason why Furikov feels like Beyond would require that much aura is because Beyond knows the person that he's trying to kill is going to have Nen in place to deflect the curse. It needs to be a very, very strong curse. So through that, Furikov basically deduces that it has to be one of the high-ranking princes. There's no way that it can't be. And he basically continues to figure out that, look, around the time that I got hit with the notification that I was cursed, the seed urn had only been completed up to the 8th prince. So Furikov is able to figure out that if my curse activation coincides with the seed urn ritual, going up to the 8th prince, then that means that the only other target possible, other than Benjamin, would be Prince Camilla, because she's the only other Nen user amongst those 8 princes in that timeline. So he assumes that he 110% has to be targeting at least one of the 2 top princes. Obviously, Furikov is still on the phone with Beyond at this point as he's figuring all of this out. And he basically accuses Beyond of being untrustworthy. He says that you only look at other people as pawns. And you're a greedy bastard. Long story short, he just calls Beyond out and he questions him, for just being a shitty person. But immediately after this, we see Beyond take less of like a child playing a game and like playing like coy to more of like, a more serious tone. And he goes, don't come at me. He goes, are you just upset at your own position, Prince? Your own, existence as a pawn just for Prince Benjamin? You're telling me that I use people as pawns. Are you mad because you're a pawn yourself? And basically, Furikov fires back. He goes, you are nothing incomparable to Benjamin. Don't ever compare yourself to him. He's 10 times better than you. And Beyond goes, all right, yeah, I'll forgive you for this outburst because I'm your father. But I'm going to leave you with these last couple of hints, and then we're never speaking ever again. I'm ensuring that you are never able to reach me, speak to me, or contact me after this. So let me leave you with these last couple of instances of information. For one, it's a little bit, something that we probably could have guessed already, but it basically just confirms Karapika's assumptions that he made on his own behalf. Beyond confirms that the succession contest does have the deadline that by the end of the Black Whale reaching the new continent, the succession contest has to be done. He also hints that the succession contest actually will end up serving multiple goals for multiple people, but at the end of the day, its ultimate goal is still to ensure that whoever wins is able to succeed the current king's guardian spirit beast and lead the Kakin Empire to promised prosperity, which is interesting phrasing, that the ultimate goal is to supersede the king's guardian spirit beast protection, because we know that the guardian spirit beast was protecting Nasubi from dying. I guess Beyond is saying here that the ultimate goal after winning the succession contest will be to kill Nasubi, something that we probably could have already guessed. Maybe that's an incorrect interpretation of it, but interesting that he noted that here. And right before hanging up, again, because Beyond was trying to play the field that, oh, you know, the curse is going to end up helping Benjamin, so you should just play along, and Furikov doubted it. Right before hanging up, Beyond, again, very cheekily, goes, you know, I always had a soft spot for Prince Benjamin, by the way, because something that we learn here, and something that I think is crucial, because, again, this batch has really just had Benjamin and Beyond be the stars of the show, and we've learned so much more about Benjamin and seen him be a more, you know, reasonable person, despite wanting to be a dictator. Like, he is still, like, actually not a terrible person, and Beyond even confirms this further, because he basically says the reason why he has a soft spot for Prince Benjamin and why Beyond always liked Prince Benjamin was because he was one of the only people of the entire royal family to never participate in the Carne Lavar, the Carnival of Flesh, as we know, which is basically, the Kakin festivals where they go around and, taste meat, to say the, in the worst possible fucking way. Benjamin never himself participated in the Carne Lavar, and he also ensured and ordered that any of his own private guardsmen would not participate in the Carne Lavar as well. So Beyond has, basically Beyond says, you better go ahead and make the best of that curse for Benjamin while you can, and then click, hangs up. But again, this could be the truth and the lie. This could be Beyond not actually, basically, caring about any of this, but wanting to make it seem more plausible that he's doing this on Benjamin's behalf. We know that whether Beyond actually has that soft spot for Benjamin or not, if he needs to take Benjamin out for his own goal, Beyond will do that. But again, yeah, Benjamin W, huge, Benjamin ups. We have just learned more and more about how Benjamin, despite coming off as this insane, aggressive musclehead, not only is he very calculating, he's also extremely considerate and is willing to be very loyal and also honorable to his siblings and the people of his country. So again, not saying that Benjamin is off the hook and just not, still a terrible person in his own ways, but he has more honor than someone like, Saradnik. So like, it's, yeah. Again, at the end of the day, though, regardless of anything that Beyond says, Furikov knows it's kind of pointless to take it at face value, and he vows to get to the bottom of this curse mystery. So again, before I move on, I just want to say, ending this segment here, and then before getting into the next half of the chapter in the next segment, is there some kind of secret conspiracy going on between the Beyond children that are aware of them being Beyond children? Because again, as someone said in chat earlier, Long He found out she was a Beyond child because she overheard her parents having a secret conversation. But it seems like, but then how does Furikov know? I mean, Furikov may be having access to the royal guards, and First Prince, he might have access to birth records. He might have, again, there might be Beyond children that have a more closer relationship with their father than some others. What we don't know is how many other Beyond children are aware of the curse, and if they're aware, how many of them are against Beyond, how many of them are for Beyond, and can we even handle a whole nother faction of people as a third party in this succession contest? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, and make sure you check out the next segment for the next half of this chapter review for 415. That is going to be happening and being uploaded later on. So thank you so much for watching. All right, that's the first segment done. How we feeling, guys? What you guys talking about in chat here? There's a dichotomy between Benjamin and Saradnik, 110%. Yeah, because Benjamin isn't... all this has showed me for sure is that Benjamin isn't a piece of shit. Benjamin is actually cool as hell. What up, Emo Sasuke? I don't remember how the curse works completely again. What I meant was more so we just yet to learn it. Meaning I'll probably do something here if Camilla's the target. Yeah, I'm interested if Furikov's deductions are correct here, right? And if he's like, you know what? The only way and only reason you would need me to do that is if, you know, if you wanted to attack a Nen user. So if it's not Benjamin, then it has to be Camilla. It could just be Benjamin. We don't know. You know what I mean? We just don't know. Do you think the third prince got down with the carnival too? It's completely possible. I really don't know. I feel like the third prince, think about it, right? Like, because now, don't take this the wrong way. Let's all be mature about this when I say this. If you really think about it, and this again, this isn't saying that you don't have blame or you don't have guilt, but they don't have blame or they don't have guilt, but like, really think about it. For their royal family, for them, that's the norm. That's what they do, right? That's what the Kakin royal family does. From the moment you are born into royalty, the Carne Lavar is just something that you guys do. So you have an extreme boundary to break there, which, again, you have to remember that not a lot of the princes, as we've seen, really have like that strong a level of autonomy. Like someone, I mean, not to say that Zhang Lei doesn't, but someone like Benjamin, who has Nen and has always been able to use Nen, strikes me as someone that has found themselves, has a strong sense of self, who they are, has their own sense of values, morality, and everything for what they want to do for their country. And while some of that may be indoctrination from birth, Benjamin also seems like someone that was able to obviously determine their own right and wrong and be like, you know what, Carne Lavar, not for me, that's kind of fucked up. Whereas like someone like Zhang Lei, like might have been like, hey, look, fuck it, this is just what we do, y'all. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to question it that much. You know, it really like, and again, like it's that much harder of a cycle to break when like you're indoctrinated from birth. Again, that doesn't excuse the actions, but like when it's just like what you do, like it's just what you do. Like you don't know anything else. You're taught that this is normal. Unless you undertake your own code of morality selfishly, there's no other way to do it. I wonder if the next chapter will shift to Melody and Kaiser. They plan for the assassination of Lazarus. It's possible. It's possible. Guys, Discord link just went live too. Discord link just got posted in the chats. Feel free, check them out, join the Discord, make sure you don't miss any community pings, and make sure if you want to talk more about the chapter when the stream is done, you can join, hit the like button, all that good stuff. I'm going to get started soon with the second half of the chapter here. It even goes back to Sarodnik's famous quotes of how he views humans. Yeah, I want to make a really, really big and long video about Sarodnik. He's one of my favorite characters. Him and his own sense of self is why he's a fucking OG. Terrible person, but, you know, a very fun villain to watch unfold, to say the least. So, anyway, let's get into the second half of this chapter, yo. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you as always. Meanwhile, during all this chaos, Camilla's getting a massage, not giving a fuck. So true, dude. The Camilla aura, to say the least. Could that large amount of aura stored in the curse just be a blanket oversight, just in case the prince does develop Nen, and not specifically made for a particular prince? That is true, Nuneza, and that's even what Beyond says to like throw in a level of like plausible deniability, right? He even says himself, he goes, well, you know, you want to just make sure that you have enough Nen to do the job. It's not so much confirming that I'm going to hit a Nen user. And Furikov is like, nah, bullshit. So Nuneza, you're kind of right on the money. Beyond is like, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that, but that's not going to be enough to satisfy your suspicions. And Furikov is like, yeah, it's fucking not. That's literally what he says. He goes, you're damn right it's not. And Furikov also refers to Beyond as a motherfucker in this chapter. He says, don't ever compare yourself to Prince Benjamin, you motherfucker. There's a theory that Loserus has already been killed, hit by an arrow. Maybe the assassination will be them actually targeting Hulk or another member. I did make that, note last review, if you guys were here or you watched any of the review segments. I made that note specifically when Loserus is like, all right, everybody go burn all the drugs that are in the back before we leave. Excuse me. I don't know if you guys heard that. I burped. I'm sorry. And I specifically noted that was weird because even Basho is super weird about it. And he's like, why are we doing this? He goes, the drugs are already cleared by the Justice Department. And even if he goes, if they want to get us on drug charges, they'll just make up the drug charges. They don't, like, it doesn't matter whether the drugs are here or not. If Benjamin is trying to kill all of us and Benjamin wants to like say that Loserus was guilty of a crime, he's going to say that Loserus was guilty of a crime, whether there's drugs here or not. And the other guard, everyone else is like, oh, shut up. Like, just do what you're told. Like, I thought that was very interesting that Basho, because remember, Basho's like Karapika, he's a bounty hunter hunter. So he's very familiar with the way that the criminal underworld works. Losers just made them do it so we can escape. That's definitely a huge possibility for sure. It could just be, again, that's the thing with Under Hunter is like that. It could be as simple as that. As simple as that. Loserus could have just done it because we know he escapes later on in the chapter. But I think it's very interesting because here's this. Another theory towards Loserus potentially being taken over by Hulkenberg that I also want to bring up before I get into this chapter, actually. Because it's really important. You guys got me talking about it. Loserus in last chapter, Basho also specifically says the prince is sleeping, don't bother him. And the moment that Basho says this, Loserus turns out and goes, nah, don't worry, I'm awake. Like, let's go. Now, could that be as simple as Loserus being the pothead prince? He doesn't want to deal with whatever. He said, Basho, if anybody bothers me, tell him I'm sleeping, when he's not sleeping. He's right there. We can tell that he's not sleeping. But at the same fucking time, we know how Hulkenberg's ability works. If that person is sleeping, then their consciousness can be taken over by Hulkenberg. So that presents us with, two options. It's just Loserus, and that's fine. Just Loserus, and that's completely fine. Or, other option, Hulkenberg took over Loserus while he was sleeping, and that's why he's like, oh, burn the drugs. Because that's something that Hulkenberg would do, and Bosch was like, that's weird. Why the fuck would you tell us to do that? We already got the drugs cleared by the Justice Department. The theory about Rice really sells me that he shot Loserus. I haven't heard much about this theory about Rice. I really don't know much about this theory. I haven't heard that, so maybe you guys can fill me in. Sick title, by the way. Yeah. I still don't know what this is about, but it's getting interesting. It goes deep, Rosinante. I told you, it goes deep. If Loserus was sleeping when he got shot, that'd be very convenient. It would be very convenient. Yeah, it would be very convenient. But it also, again, more or less convenient, and more or less like that could have just been the tip off, right? I wouldn't look at that as like, oh, well, we know that if he was taken over by the arrow, that he probably would have just been. I think getting hit by the arrow puts the consciousness in sleep anyway. I just don't think the sleep is permanent. They can wake up. Hulkenberg had to give Balsamico the sleeping pills to make sure that he stayed under longer. And if Rice is a Hulk man, how would he know that Hulk was going to shoot Luz? It doesn't necessarily have to be that Rice was a Hulk man. We know Rice worked for Queen Dwazul, who is Hulkenberg's mother. We don't necessarily know if Hulkenberg has completely said, fuck my connection to Dwazul. Dwazul could also be working for Beyond, who is cooperating with Unma. Like, I don't want to put it past the other queens either. So, again, Rice was a Queen's Guard specifically. So it's possible he could have been like, hey, bro, it's me, Hulkenberg. Get me the fuck out of here, dude. Get me the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Or, it could be anything. Again, Losers could have just said, Rice, hey, come on, let's go get the fuck out of here. Sorry. Choking on my words because there's too much to say. But again, it could have just been it could be just as simple as Loserus was like, hey, Rice, call the Mafia, get me the fuck out of here. We know Loserus has his Mafia connections. It could. I believe Rice is a Hulkenberg follower who took over the body. Maybe. That's also possible. And then killed Loserus. Maybe. Wouldn't everyone have heard the gunshot, though? Rice just had the silencer on deck. I'm not discounting that he could be dead. I just definitely want to, that's my immediate first thought. No, I feel like they would have heard the gunshot. No? I don't know. I'll have to see it I don't know. I feel like Prince Loserus is too important. I feel like he's gotta play a part in the final role. So this could just be me coping. I don't want to be a party pooper, but this is so complicated. I'm absolutely sure someone's just going to say, fuck it, we ball and fight a bunch of people. That's what a lot of people want, believe it or not. I think he got shot during the distraction when Prince Benjamin's guard shot himself. Oh, so you're saying Rice has been a Hulkenberg man since the fucking beginning. But I don't know, how long ago did Shikaku die? Because again, the consciousness can't be there for that long. Hulkenberg confirms it. After a while, the original consciousness wakes up, and then the taken over consciousness completely is lost, potentially forever, inside the body. It's unclear. It could go either way. But I want to get into this the second half here. I definitely want to get into the second half here. All right. Y'all ready? It's about to get even crazier. So the last half of this chapter covers a little bit of the whole letter shenanigans when it comes to Kurapika and Oito trying to reach out to Killua and Gon and get the whole real Wobble secured and safe on mainland. But we pretty much are able to finally catch up to martial law being activated and get a pretty in-depth perspective of what is happening to every single prince during this time period. But before we get into the martial law, I want to go into the whole letter to Gon and Killua because Kurapika is starting to have doubts about this entire plan, and there may be a change in the way that Oito and Kurapika plan to reach out to this relative in Yamato. Because despite the whole messaging system and language in Yamato basically serving them perfectly for the matter of codes. For one, it's going to be using a military drone or high-speed ferry that will just shoot it from the Black Whale all the way to its location. Only takes about 3 to 5 days, which is pretty peak. It's pretty cash. But on top of that, just like Kakanese, Yamato's language is a bit complex as well. There's multiple layers to it and ways that you can use words and grammar. So Oito actually says the way that this works in their benefit is if there's any kind of weird grammar or sentences that she uses or words that don't make sense, i.e. like if she puts cryptic codes or messages inside of the letter that, aren't exactly, correct, Oito can be like, oh, stupid me. I don't really understand the language too much. Like, it's kind of hard. The same way the whole Shimanu and Shimano problem came about a while ago, a couple chapters ago with Kurapika, Oito can kind of use that to her advantage in this letter. But the problem is like, no matter how much they put into ensuring the letter is safe, the messaging and coding is as secure as possible, Kurapika this is just the worst possible plan that they could ever possibly make. He has so many doubts and fears about it because, for one, the moment that they even draft the letter and they get it right, they have to get it inspected by the military before it goes off, which is Benjamin's private guard, no less, who Kurapika knows Benjamin wants to know where the real Wobble is. That's a humongous threat. And if the military is able to decipher that code, they can trace the letter and get all the way to Yamato to find the original Wobble. They can try the Oito and fake Wobble for treason and, basically execute them for contempt of the royal succession ceremony, which unfortunately is going to inevitably happen no matter what, we know, with the real and fake Wobble swap anyway. But the main issue is this is just going to expose real Wobble's location if they get caught sending out this letter. Huge problem. If Benjamin gets to Wobble before Gon and Killua can, cooked. And yeah, that fulfills the condition of eliminating Wobble from succession because they find out where the real Wobble is. If he's not on the boat, he's not in succession. That's a threat eliminated. If he's on the boat and they can't find him anywhere elsewhere, then they know they have to look for him. Long story short, they're playing their hand if they get caught with this. So all of that's going on. But on top of this, there's also so many possibilities and uncontrollable circumstances going on with this plan. Because let's say they get past the military, right? The drone and the boat, whatever method that letter is taking, who's to say that doesn't get intercepted? Who's to say that the drone arrives safely or it doesn't get hit because they find out it's a queen's message? There's a criminal or somebody that goes in and there's a third party that intercepts, or just genuine malfeasance. The letter gets lost in translation and it never gets to the source. Or, you know what? Honestly, overseas travel, multiple couriers passing the letter back and forth. Who's to say that a basic handwritten letter isn't going to get smudged or stained? It's going to get the courier's dirty, sweaty, greasy McDonald's, Burger King finger stains all over the letter, right? So that could make the code that they put in there completely illegible and completely invalidate everything that they've done. Is Kurapika just quite literally quite literally, like, thinking of every possibility and everything that could go wrong. Yeah, he is definitely being very overcomplicated about this, but he has to be, right? He completely has to be, because not only that, but like, there's other people involved in this that Kurapika has also never even met at all. Oito's relative in Yamato isn't like some trained hunter, some like secret, assassin or nen user or anything like that. They're an ordinary owner of a post office. So you're trusting this ordinary post office, owner to uncode this cryptic message. Then, after finding out this message and finding out what they need to do, secretly, probably in the dead of night, travel a long period of time or distance to meet up with Gon and Killua wherever they can, two hunters that this relative has never met. And on top of that, the whole time they have to keep that travel and everything a secret. They have to not get caught. They have to not get, exposed for their identity. They're traveling on top of that with a baby infant that's a prince. None of that is going to be easy, and there's so many things that could go wrong entirely with that. And now some people are just going to be like, oh, we'll just reach out to Gon and Killua and have them meet up with Wobble. Well, yeah, that's a great idea. If Oito's relative even knew that Gon and Killua were coming in the first place, even if they do that, two random hunters show up at the Oito's relative's doorstep, and they're like, hey, give us Wobble. We're friends with Oito. Why is she going to believe them, right? It's just too much for Kurapika to even handle. And taking all of this into account, he stops Oito from writing the letter, and he goes, hey, look, you know what? Like, let's stop. Let's just stop doing this. But the conversation or whatever counter plan or alternative that Kurapika comes up with, we don't get to hear it. It's, we see the panels and we see Oito's reaction, but we don't actually hear what she's saying or what he's saying. The next time that we do cut to them, it's Kurapika and Oito going to Babamina, and they say, hey, Babamina, we have 8 letters. So it's not just one letter they're sending out now, it's 8 different letters. So Kurapika clearly thought of something. Thank you so much for the gifted member, Andy. I appreciate that. Thank you for the love. And honestly, I don't know if Kurapika even took this into account, but we know Babamina is the boy, honestly. He has really connected with Oito. He's sympathized with her, and despite being a member of Prince Benjamin's guard, he does seem to have a genuine heart. He's even gone against, to some degree, like he hasn't outright defied Benjamin, but when Firikov was employing N, Babamina was like, you know what? I'm not going to employ my N out of respect for the queen. So again, like, we want to make it clear that Babamina is still an enemy, but he's like a very sympathetic enemy, to say the least. And on his established goodwill with the queen, when Kurapika, comes to him to inspect the letters, Babamina actually just says, hey, you know what? Look, the inspection process is completely, null. All of Benjamin's private guard has to, check all of the mail personally. But you know what? I got no problem with Oito. I've got no problem with you guys. I'll just go ahead and hand these letters over. I won't even bother opening and checking them for you. I'm just going to send them over. I'm happy to do it. Which, for one, again, W, Babamina. W, what a good guy. And Kurapika, noticing this, he makes a mental note of it. It's not something that he's like, I'm going to be able to exploit, but it is something that he pays attention to, because he goes, okay, well, if all goods being delivered are going to go through Babamina, and he's just going to pass them through, I wonder, that would probably be the exact same process for where if we were to send something physical, like a material package, not just a letter. So Kurapika doesn't come up with a plan at the moment, but he does, again, keep it in mind with a pin that if we actually want to send a physical material package, then we could probably get that through and get that sent out, and Babamina will probably end up not inspecting it. So again, just something to pay attention to. If Kurapika does decide to take advantage of that later on. But we will see, obviously, with martial law finally taking into effect and us with, I'm assuming, all of these future chapters actually being able to see and witness what is going to go down during martial law, then you know what, Kurapika might have plenty of other issues to be dealing with. Because again, from this point on in the chapter, like I said earlier, we go into every single POV in regards to martial law. And now this is going to be the difference here between stream and the review segment. Stream, I'm probably going to only be able to show the most important princes and panels. I'll talk about every single one, but I'm only going to show certain pictures, obviously, for copyright. The review segment, you'll probably be able to get more, but because the chapter will probably be out by then. But either way, so going through every single prince, we see the reaction to everything here. So one of the first big things that maybe I missed out on, I assume it's going to be expanded upon maybe in another future chapter that we'll get in this batch. But obviously, Second Prince Camilla, we know, doesn't give a single shit about the military coming in or declaring martial law. She actually asks her aide if they'll just shut the speaker off so they can continue with the massage. But why even bother bringing this up is because in the third prince's room, for one, we know Zhang Lei has escaped with the military. But Kovin Toba, who is the Benjamin guard that has been stationed with Zhang Lei since the very beginning, who we've actually checked in with multiple times. He's the guy that noticed Zhang Lei's Guardian Spirit Beast coins and has been holding on to it, trying to, lie to Zhang Lei and his men about Nen, trying to, stay on top of a situation that he really can't comprehend. Last we saw of him, he was recognizing that the coin he got from Zhang Lei upgraded to a 10 because he's been holding on to it for longer than 10 days. We don't know anything more about it than that, but we see in this moment here, Kovin Toba, when martial law gets declared, is actually extremely worried. I don't know why, which again, maybe someone can fill me in on. I'm just missing it, but he is very upset about martial law coming about and genuinely seems to just be questioning why Benjamin resorted to martial law at all. Like, he's like, why did this have to happen? I can't believe that this is going on. But the weirdest thing about it is, for whatever reason, Kovin Toba, and again, I don't know if this is because of what's going on with him and the two guards right here. Perhaps they're accusing him or going against him, or maybe he's upset that Zhang Lei was able to get away and he can't fulfill with his duty. But either way, Kovin Toba wonders to himself, is this because of the coin? Is all of this because I took that coin? Is this all my fault? Which is, again, is he wondering if martial law and the quote-unquote bad luck of the succession contest going towards Benjamin, like, is he thinking that the succession contest is actually going in Zhang Lei's favor, like it's manipulating events somehow, because he's holding on to the coin and he didn't get rid of it? Or maybe it's because Kovin Toba is actually starting to feel loyalty towards Zhang Lei, and is starting to be manipulated in a way that he doesn't understand. Again, I'm sure that we'll get more information about this, but this was one of the weirdest things that I saw entirely. And we still don't know what Zhang Lei's Guardian Spirit Beast does, but I think we may find out a little bit more about it once we cut back to this one. We do cut into 1004, where we see inside of Saradnik's room, but just like Camilla, bro is not bothered at all about martial law, doesn't even acknowledge it. It does, the speaker going off doesn't even break his Zetsu concentration. And then you've got Salkov, who is just wondering, is this okay? Like, are we able to defy this? Are we not going to get screwed? Which I think is just really funny, that the whole time Salkov is just like in disbelief at everything that Saradnik has been doing. Now, the next important POV that we get is someone that we actually haven't seen in a long time. So I was wondering when we might actually check in with her, and that's Tubepa. we know that Rihan, the Nen user with Predator, who was the one that assassinated Salih Saleh, or at least set up the assassination for Salih Saleh, you show he was the one that killed him with Stinger Ball, using Predator to, identify and counter Salih Saleh's Guardian Spirit Beast. He's been stationed with Tubepa to try and analyze Tubepa's Guardian Spirit Beast. Now, he, unlike some of the other Guardians, unlike some of the other Benjamin guards, is immediately taking control of the area. He's got everyone at gunpoint, and he's demanding that they escort Tubepa out of the room now, and any of the Queen's Guard that she wants to take with her to room 1001 to go with all of the other princes. And the point is, you see Long He, you see all of these people, basically backing down here. And you see how hard Rihan is fighting for control of the room, because like some of the researchers here, like they're like, oh yeah, all of you guys go outside. We're not fucking dealing with this. This is, we're above the pay grade to deal with this. We're safe, and the one girl's like, yeah. It's kind of like, they're just more or less like being like, wow, glad that we don't have to deal with this, right? Like, it's not like they're being mean, but they're like, thank God this has nothing to do with us kind of a deal. And Rihan, it shows how much he's compensating here. He immediately puts a gun, as you can see, to the back of this one researcher's head after his comment, and goes, hey, you want to speak up again? Do you want me to consider this speaking out against, the law of Kakin? And, that's punishable by death, Now, this is a great moment here because we haven't really seen much of... We've seen a little bit of Tubepa, but we haven't really been able to see much of her actions and much of her own autonomy as a prince. And despite Rihan having all of the power here, she immediately steps in and goes, hey, you don't need to do that. Get your gun off of my researcher. He's important for everything that's going to come for the Dark Continent with the future. We need him for all of the experiments and things like you risking this guy's life is above your pay grade, actually, Rihan. So yeah, it shows a little bit of her that she's not afraid to also immediately, also contest Rihan's control here in this insane situation where, like, again, Rihan has all the control and can easily shoot Tubepa and kill all of them in this moment. She's not afraid to stand out and, and challenge that authority. So it shows a lot about her. Now, again, obviously, Rihan does have the cards in this situation. He's like, hey, look, the martial law is legitimate. I'm only doing what I'm supposed to do here. I'm not going to kill him, but keep in mind, I'm here to protect you, quote unquote. Again, martial law is being declared because supposedly Hulkenberg and Saradnik are being charged of committing nuclear treason and overthrowing the entire empire and nation as a whole. So, like, to be fair, Rihan's words have justification. He knows it's bullshit. We know it's bullshit. But it's still a pretty valid defense. However, Tubepa also knows that it's pretty much bullshit. She is actually, in her internal monologue, completely surprised that Benjamin would resort to such a downright dirty move to try and underhandedly win the succession contest like that. Basically, again, kind of showing that, like, not that, like, hey, look, Tubepa is literally like, wow, I didn't expect him to be this dishonorable. I would have expected Benjamin to fight us all one by one and let the contest, go normally. She's kind of like, this is weird. But this kind of also shows, as someone said earlier in chat, so many intelligent characters. It shows how capable some of these princes really are, because Tubepa's smarter than just, thinking that Benjamin is just pulling a dirty move here. She knows the only reason that Benjamin would do something like this is because he's in dire straits himself for some reason. She doesn't know exactly what it is, but she knows that Benjamin has to have something pressing happening to him if he isn't going about this the honorable way. Everything is fair in love and war, yes, but Tubepa is still like, this don't make no sense. And on top of that, you gotta give her the highlight of the chapter here, because she even calls Rihan out to his face after this, because she's like, oh, you know what? I'm really interested to see where you draw the line between protecting your country and winning the succession contest. Because even she knows, she's like, oh, she's not outright saying it, but she's kind of subtly implying, real convenient that all of Benjamin's guards are going to be the only people that are protecting the princes, all in a confined room under, you know, the protection of our country. I really, she's like, I look forward to seeing, you know, where you really, you know, stand on that one. But the thing is Tubeppa knows that no matter what, she's not in the position currently to like openly defy this or object to Rihan right now. She knows that she kind of has to go. So she says, all right, I can bring the guards that I choose. These are the guards that I choose. Take me to room 1001. Let's see what happens. Now, before we leave this perspective, the last thing we get is an inner monologue from Rihan himself, who is taking note of the fact that Tubeppa's guardian spirit beast hasn't disappeared since the contract with Karapika was made. Now, if you remember way back in about, you know, chapter 401, early on in the first batch, we got a couple like last year or so, Karapika and Longhi made that contract that for Karapika to start searching for the curse sacrifices. That's when we found out about the Netero curse and all that stuff. And when Tubeppa confirmed that the contract and deal was alliance was formed with Karapika, that her guardian spirit beast appeared and it seemed like an ability activated. So Rihan thought it was conditional. But since that moment, Tubeppa's guardian spirit beast hasn't disappeared. It's just remained idle and has sat there completely. So Rihan isn't sure yet why that is, but he assumes it's probably because Karapika is far away from Tubeppa at this point. He assumes it has something to do with how far this distance is. So again, Rihan is still trying to analyze Tubeppa's guardian spirit beast himself, but he hasn't figured it out yet. And we do know that if, depending on what happens with Prince Mariam, if they're not able to get Prince Mariam out, then they're just going to move Rihan from Tubeppa to Mariam. So depending on what happens with martial law, that's also a possibility. Augustin, thank you so much for the dono. Thank you for the big buck dono. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. Love that. Rihan wants to create a predator for that frog so bad. Yes, he does. He does. I kind of say it's more of like a frog, like lizard. It looks more like kind of like a chameleon. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? The predator will be a snake. Predator is getting formed and Tubeppa is just giving more and more information. Yeah, I wonder if we're going to even get to see Rihan complete this. Right? Like if we're actually even going to be able to see like something with all of this going down, Rihan might not even have to finish Predator, or depending on what happens, like Tubeppa, I don't know where Tubeppa stands as far as, is she really a threat? I mean, even her herself in this inner monologue goes, you know, despite being 5th prince, I don't think Benjamin would probably consider me one of the higher threat level princes. She even says it about herself. So I don't know what Togashi plans with her. I mean, it's the same thing with Tyson. We literally see Prince Tyson just happily trotting down from room 1006 with the other guards. No worries at all. And she's just smiling like, what's up with her? Is she gonna die? Is her guardian spirit beast all of the build up with like the cult of Tyson and all that stuff? Where is that gonna go? I'm truly, genuinely very curious. An antidote for Benjamin, that's a pretty good idea, actually. That could change a lot, and that would get Tubeppa another alliance. That's big time. Moving through the perspectives, Prince Luzerus seems to have completely disappeared. Did I move ahead a little bit? I did. I don't know why that got put in earlier than this one. Either way. Again, we kind of talked about this earlier, but it seems like Luzerus completely disappeared, which, if you remember last review or you were here last stream, you remember me talking about this when it seemed really strange that Loserus just commanded everybody but him and Rice to burn all the drugs and contraband in the room before they escaped. Because even Basho, who is a blacklist hunter, someone that constantly deals with the criminal underworld, with bounty hunting and stuff like that, like, Basho understands crime. He might not understand dictators, but he knows that if Benjamin wanted to not just kill Loserus and all the princes, but he just wanted to manufacture a fake drug charge, he could do it. Burning the drugs stands no purpose. Now, does this open up the floor for Loserus use this opportunity to escape with Rice, and that's why he called Rice over while he sent everyone else away? That could have been the perfect time to distract everyone and get away with it. I know there seems to be this theory going around with potentially this was a chance for Loserus to get taken advantage of, because we know Hulkenberg fired a net arrow and we still don't know where that net arrow went. Loserus was supposedly sleeping before all of this went down and was suddenly awake. Is it possible that Hulkenberg took possession of Loserus and then used his connection with Rice and Queen Dwazul to escape? Or is it just way simpler than we thought, and it's basically just Loserus used Rice to say, hey, call the mafia, get me out of here? There's so many different ways that it could go, but again, it seems like me kind of harping on that, burn all the drugs and get everyone away, just like Basho did. It seems like that was the moment where Loserus was able to slip away. Again, whether it was him or it might have been someone else in disguise. Regardless, Kanji Doll, the Benjamin guard that was previously last chapter basically stabbing people in the throat in their sleep, and he got into a big Nen altercation with Ridge, that hunter that is also allied with Basho in protecting Loserus. It would seem that Kanji Doll was defeated in that Nen battle and basically was tied up, and they're going to try and charge Kanji Doll's crimes as murder because he got caught before martial law got taken into effect. Remember, last chapter, Kanji Doll was jumping the gun. He was killing people before martial law even went into effect to kind of get a jump on everybody. But if martial law is in effect, that technically means that Kanji Doll just murdered everybody without cause. So even though he was kind of prepped beforehand, that's not how the law works. Now, is that pointless? We know that the Kaken Empire's justice system is definitely, holds some kind of, privilege and kind of bias towards royal crimes. On top of the fact that Kanji Doll even admits and believes this entirely, that no matter what happens, he'll be found innocent because whose word is gonna go further? His? The trusted guard of First Prince Benjamin, who was attacked, and only fought back out of self-defense? Or, the random hunter association guy who claims that Kanji Doll, killed people. He assumes that, not only is he going to be found innocent, he says that by trying to bring this to the ultimate court and charging him for it, they might actually end up pulling Loserus, pulling the Ka'ar family mafia, all of Loserus's guards, everybody they might end up taking down with him for ultimate treason against First Prince Benjamin's guard. So again, obviously with martial law going on, with Benjamin in his own ruckuses, with every prince being taken away, I think everybody's going to have bigger worries to deal with than Kanji Doll's fucking criminal crime case. But again, who knows what's actually going to occur now that we're finally actually getting to the timeline where martial law is going down. Augustine, thank you so much for the dono again. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Sincerely, thank you so much for the dono. I really love and appreciate it. Miranda told us that civilians can't use contraceptives when they have relationships with the princes, so some of the women Sally Sally was with could be pregnant and those kids could inherit. Maybe. I don't know about that. I think Miranda does specifically say that's in regards to the Carne Lavar. So like Sally Sally and his own entourage, the harem that he had, they could, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to follow those laws too, right? That could be, I could be wrong. listen, Saleh Saleh actually still technically being a member of the succession contest through his kids inheriting would be funny as hell. Don't get me wrong. But I think we've got confirmation that his flame of life, quote unquote, already lit in the big giant Nen battery that Nasubi is putting all the corpses into. So we know he's out of the succession contest at the very least for certain. He's already been deemed a loss. And yeah, that one guy who got stabbed and his hand was going up, was he resisting in his sleep? He might have just been resisting. I know exactly what you're talking about. That panel was really weird. That panel is really, really, really weird. I know exactly what you're talking about. Homegirl just told me she's not taking a shower since Tuesday. Oh my goodness, that's insane. I don't know about that. That seems a little questionable behavior. Seems insanely questionable. Intervention worthy almost. Some might say. All right. So, last chapter, we did see that Chamathi and Yushohi were about to get into a Nen battle, it seemed, in room 1009. They are actually the only perspective that we don't pick up with, probably because we kind of already saw what was going on. But maybe we'll catch up with them in another chapter to see what actually goes down with that crazy Nen ability that Chamathi is using. But more importantly, we move to room 1011, which we know is Prince Fugetsu, but Queen Psycho is being escorted out of her quarters and into another VVIP area. Meanwhile, Fugetsu is being allowed to continually be detained inside of the quarters of the Ministry of Justice with Kaiser and Melody, which just reconfirms to us that if you weren't paying attention the last couple of chapters ago, Prince Benjamin did basically render Fugetsu a non-threat and made her exempt from all of the matters of the martial law. So her being left in the Ministry of Justice is basically Benjamin saying, don't worry about Fugetsu, leave her be. Because remember, we know that when Benjamin saw Fugetsu hand him the letter, and he saw that she was cursed and all fucked up, he basically was like, yeah, she's gonna die soon anyway. No reason to even waste energy or breath on her. Now, we do cut back 15 minutes before martial law, but this is just to show Biscuit's perspective. I don't think we're actually going back in time again. At least I hope not. But we cut to room 41013, I guess because Tagashi's going to probably show us what happens during martial law later, based off of what Biscuit actually discovers before martial law even comes into effect. Because if you remember, Biscuit is also with Hancho. That's his name, right? Hanzo, I'm sorry. Biscuit is also with Hanzo, protecting Prince Miriam, and they are inside that pocket dimension of room 1013 because of Miriam's guardian spear piece, the giant dragon, basically lifting them and keeping them protected from the entire succession contest. Now, we know that there is still the Prince Benjamin guard in the room with them that can assassinate them at any time, and that's why we cut back to 15 minutes before, because Biscuit immediately picks up on the tension of this guy. Like, instantly, despite the fact that he's trying to remain calm, and he's trying to act like, oh, you know what, I'm completely calm, cool, collected, nothing's going on. He is aware that martial law is going into effect. He is preparing for everything to happen. So, Biscuit is able to sense this kind of irregularity in his aura. She picks up on his uneasiness. And instantly she's like, you know what? Martial law is probably about to go into place. This guy is prepping for something big, and I'm assuming that he is going to be ready to try and do something here. I can't prove it, but I know that something big is about to go down. So what Biscuit does here is she weighs the options of following the martial law and having everybody leave the pocket dimension, or are they better just staying in the pocket dimension and hoping that they can stay protected and no one else is going to be able to get in? Because remember, Biscuit's main goal, just like all of the other hunters enlisted by Kurapika, is to ensure that these lower ranked princes are able to stay alive for as long as possible. They don't want any of the princes to die if they can help it. So Biscuit, weighing her options here, realizes that maybe we should stay in the pocket dimension, because she kind of plays devil's advocate in regards to Wobol's guardian spirit beast. Based off of her deductions, because remember, Bellorante was originally working for the 7th Prince, and once he left, he couldn't get back into the pocket dimension. There was no way for him to return. So Biscuit actually assumes that if they leave the room, not only are they going to get cut off from the pocket dimension entirely, if Miriam himself leaves, Biscuit assumes that the Guardian Spirit Beast itself might actually be affected. Miriam's Guardian Spirit Beast might be this powerful because it's a one-time use conditionary ability, which means that the moment Miriam leaves, the giant dragon might actually hibernate and go to sleep for an unknown duration of time and be unusable, or the Guardian Spirit Beast might revert all the way back to a little baby and have to go through its evolution again to reproduce a pocket dimension. And again, that could take another huge amount of time. So either way, the moment they leave this pocket dimension, if Biscuit is correct in her thinking, Miriam's defenseless and they're completely screwed. They're never going to be able to survive martial law if they follow the rules of it. So Biscuit's like, all right, that's fine. We're not following martial law. We're going to go ahead and defy the national order, but we have to be smart about this. She calls over Vergay, most likely trying to put a plan into place on how they're going to handle the Prince Benjamin Guard and anything that occurs for the future here. And Vergay, if you don't remember, he's a guard that is loyal to Queen Dazul and originally was, very much a dickhead, not a good guy. But when he realized that Biscuit was actually a giant muscular woman who was using Nen to make herself appear small, he kind of funnily enough, he falls in love with her. Almost weirdly enough, just like Kaiser falls in love with fucking Melody. He basically is just completely infatuated and in love with Biscuit. So on top of that, he also loves the way that she is personally. Like, he watches her play with Miriam and he's attracted to her from that. So again, trusting Vergay because of his affection towards her, not just because of his, queen loyalties. She's most likely going to try and come up with a way to get rid of Prince Benjamin's guard so they can defy the martial law order. And then finally, we have the last and final perspective of everything, which is Kurapika and Oito finally catching up to the actual fucking timeline. For once, everybody is caught up to current time. It took us 5 chapters in this chapter batch to get here, but we finally made it. And as Baba Mina receives news of the martial law, we know that Fugetsu was made and, exempt from the martial law. But also, Oito and Wobble seem to be exempt from the martial law as well, too. Augustin, thank you so much for the 2 donos. I'm so sorry. I just saw it. Will the succession war end when they reach the false dark continent, or the ship has to arrive to the actual dark continent? The wording just says dark continent and the false will be considered real. I believe it's when they get to the new continent entirely. That's what Beyond confirms this chapter as well, is that it's once they get off the new continent. And then, again, thank you for the donos. I appreciate you. Biscuit is screwed anyways, because if they stay in the room, Rihan will come. And if he enters the room and it is empty, that is a lot of info for Predator. Rihan's the most important character now. Again, depending on what happens with Tubeppa, right? But yeah, Rihan going to Miriam is definitely their worst possible scenario, because Rihan would be able to deduce what's going on pretty quickly and come up with a way to enter the pocket dimension, which would not be good for them. So yeah, I think Rihan is definitely the biggest threat, which is why Benjamin sends him after after Miriam if they can't get into the dimension. But even though Oito and Wobble are currently exempt from the martial law, because the whole real fake Wobble swap was revealed by Kurapika in the latest Nen class, Oito was pretty certain that there were going to be ramifications for that there were going to be laws that they were breaking that would result in crimes that potentially would result in Oito and the real and fake Wobble being executed, which they were pretty much right on the money. Baba Mina says that Benjamin has handed down orders in regards to the Wobble swap because regardless of whatever their reasons were for it, they still broke the law and they can still be held in contempt of affecting a Kaken national ceremony. So what that basically means is that while Benjamin, again, good guy, Chad, is willing to pardon the fake Wobble wholeheartedly because you can't really blame the fake Wobble. He's just a baby. He can't help that his mom and his mom's sister were willing to put him into this much danger. So any punishment that will be dealt to fake Wobble completely postponed, put on hold. Meanwhile, Oito, again, is going to be charged with basically treason against the Kaken Empire, which could normally be, an executable offense. However, because Wobble, real or fake, still exists and is still alive, Oito is still technically royalty. She's a queen regent. She does enjoy... Wobble is a girl. I know. I'm sorry. I fuck up the gender of the baby all the time. And honestly, you know what? It's a baby. It can't declare itself. We don't know. Either way, Oito is royalty. She's a queen regent. She does enjoy some level of privilege above the law. So Benjamin basically told Baba Mina that, hey, you're required to be detained, but you can stay inside the main bedroom of room 1014. Go about your day as normal. Nothing will happen to you as long as you never leave the bedroom. At least until Benjamin can get confirmation on whether or not the real Wobble is a participant or not. So what this does is it means that, sure, they're exempt from martial law currently. Oito is basically stuck in a room, which I don't think she was ever planning on leaving her room anyway. But she's confined into her room for certain now. She cannot leave. At least until Benjamin gets confirmation on the real Wobble actually being on the boat or not. Because, again, keep in mind, as Kurapika assumes earlier, Benjamin is never going to take their word on the real Wobble being off of the ship. If the real Wobble is somehow secretly still on the ship and they get to the new continent without killing the real Wobble, the succession contest is fucked. And even if Benjamin gets this far and wins everything, the whole ritual could be null and void and he'll just die. So he needs to make absolutely certain real Wobble is not on the ship. So Kurapika assumes that not only is the martial law probably being used to confirm that, he assumes also, just like Tubepa, that despite that, all of this is really weird. All of this is going on very fast. There's no way that Benjamin would be that worried about the boat's timeline, and just enact a martial law like this. Just like Tubepa, Kurapika is smart enough to know there's got to be some kind of big reason behind Benjamin acting so haphazardly and hastily, which, again, it shows Kurapika's intelligence. Maybe some people might even theorize that it might be because of the contract that Tubepa and Kurapika make, that because Tubepa came to that conclusion, Kurapika might make that conclusion. But I think it's just overall regular intelligence. This gives us where everybody is currently when it comes to martial law. And hopefully from here on out, it's just letting the events play out and take it from there. There are so many things going on. I might actually have to make a separate video, basically catching everybody up to where everybody is outside of this as well, and making sure we're all caught up with the events that might actually go down. But from here, this is the end of the chapter. So let me know what all of your ultimate thoughts are in regards to this. If you missed the previous segment in regards to Furykov's discussion with Beyond and what that means for the Nen curse, definitely feel free to check it out. But I appreciate you so much for watching, and hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more Hunter x Hunter content. I appreciate you. So that's the final segment. And believe it or not, this chapter, despite being super duper information filled, I actually for once don't have a follow-up third segment. So for once I'm stun locked. For once I'm completely stun locked. But let me know what you guys all think. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Please, please hit the like button. I'm curious what you guys all think about the chapter. Also, if you have not already, join the Discord. Just posted the link to make sure you don't miss any of these stream pings, you don't miss the chapter review pings, or if you just want to talk more about Hunter x Hunter and ask me questions or ask other people questions, we can all talk about it and chat. So yeah, join the Discord, best way to keep up with everything, because YouTube kind of sucks sometimes. I even seen some of you guys talk about you just were super late because YouTube didn't tell you about it. Discord is the best way to not do that. I disagree. This is running a race on a minefield. Everyone has a reason to be hasty. Not acting only ensures your demise. Well, I think it's more so like Benjamin is doing a very dirty move by bringing everyone here into the succession, into the one room and slaughtering them all with martial law. And I don't think that everyone is like questioning the liability of it, and that like Benjamin, they're not like, is Benjamin really doing this? I think it's more or less like they're in disbelief that Benjamin would resort to playing the succession contest this way, because up until this point things were progressing kind of slow, right? And because there's a month and a half left, they still have plenty of time to do things. Again, technically speaking, you know what, like the Guardian Spirit Beasts can't go after one another. There's multiple things put in place. This is more meant to be a political game than it is meant to be like an all-out battle royale. Only Atu in the ship that could prove Woble's not in the ship is Partner Finder that Crollo has if he tries to find Wobble. Right, but I don't know, but doesn't Partner Finder, doesn't that not, can't you not specifically, you can't choose who that partners you up with, right? Like, it just finds your perfect match for what you're looking for. I mean, I guess maybe if his goal was to find Wobble, but again, that doesn't necessarily mean that that would lead him to Wobble. That might lead him to the relative in Yamato. It's not cut and dry. I honestly, I'm a full belief that Crollo's perfect match here is going to be Kurapika. And Kurapika and Crollo are going to have to work together here. I'm telling you, that's going to be the case without a doubt. Benjamin's character is going towards a more positive, good guy direction. I don't think he'll kill him just for no reason. The only reason I think he might, I think this is his ultimate goal. The thing is Benjamin needs to kill everyone, right? Like, Benjamin needs to kill everyone as fast as he possibly can to win the succession war, to pass his Guardian Spirit Beast on to his son. He needs to kill everyone, win the succession contest, and then confirm the rights of succession with Nasubi. He's 110% trying to mop everything up as quickly as he possibly can before he dies. So I think he kind of has to kill everybody here in order for his plan to work. I think Andy's kind of right on the money. Yeah, Benjamin isn't necessarily good. He's just more so lawful. Like, he's honorable, but like he still wants to run a dictatorship in the Kakin Empire and also take over the world. I wonder if we'll see Krollo's reaction to martial law, seeing as he was on his way to tier 1. Exactly. I think that will be one of the most interesting things to see how Krollo ends up. Krollo was basically like, I've got to get involved in the succession contest in order to find out what's going on with these sacred regalia. So crazy. Hisoka, when he hears the funnel alarm, true. Just can wait to see how it all plays out. Can't picture it, and that's a good thing. Yeah, I completely agree, Born Again Gamer. Like, that is that's the best part about it, is every chapter is like unpredictable. Do you think Leorio and the chairman girl of the Hunter Association could heal Benjamin? Maybe they could have saved him, but he was too shy to ask. I don't know. I do like the theory that was put into place in chat earlier when someone said Tubeppa might be able to offer Benjamin an antidote. I think they were cooking with that. I think that actually is a pretty reliable thing to say. I actually kind of really, really like that one. Ben doesn't want to be healed, though. Yes, but it's also important to remember that, like, he's doing a lot of this because he is going to die. And he needs to die a specific way. I mean, that does go with the counter curse. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, Benjamin does want to die because that's the whole thing with the God thing, right? So yeah, maybe the antidote doesn't necessarily work. It sounded cool, but in practice it sucks. No, I'm just kidding. It was a cool theory for sure. Yeah, but we're coming up at the end of stream, y'all. I will I got to go ahead and I got to start editing the first half of this so I can go ahead pop that out for the rest of everybody. Get the upload for everyone that missed stream. Borkson is definitely killing Zhang Lei. Yeah, remember the Hei Li still has a lot of shit to do. The have-nots will also appear soon. Camilla's been ignored a lot. Yep, we know there's a have-not for every prince. Sarah Hell is still in the Nen training class. We don't know what's going to go on with martial law. Martial law opens up a lot of possibilities, guys. Huge amount of fucking possibilities. But yeah, guys, I'm probably gonna call it. Again, y'all, feel free to join the Discord. Link is in the pinned message. Again, you can make sure you don't miss any future stream pings. We can keep talking about Hunter x Hunter in the Discord when the stream is over. But I think we're gonna go ahead and call it, guys. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure you hit the like button. I really, really, really do appreciate it. Yeah, we still have to catch up with the Phantom Troop. Oh, we still have to catch up with the Phantom Troop as well. We don't know what they're actually doing with in going into the martial law either. They're right now in between floors of the ship, so. Are we expecting Togashi to keep going ham for an extended run of weekly drops? I don't think it'll be an extended run. I don't think so. I think the last tweet Togashi put out about the chapters was with 423. I don't know if I've seen any since. 432 character inking completed, 433 character inking started, which was on July 10th. So 423 was the last manuscript. So we haven't seen him put out any new manuscripts yet. So right now he's still only 3 chapters done with the next batch. Not saying I said no. Tagashi is always hard at work. You can follow Tagashi on his Twitter. But Tagashi usually gives us pretty casual updates pretty often. Like this is the last tweet he shared, which was 2 weeks ago. Again, keep in mind he is wholeheartedly like, you know, going through back issues and, you know, going through a lot of things with like treatment and everything to keep up this pace. So, and then I think last time he had to take a little break because he chipped a tooth and he had to get a new tooth installed. He had to get like a fake tooth. So like there's like, you know, keep in mind he's got a life too, but he is steadily working whenever he can. But yeah, as of the last tweet he's made, the last chapter he has completed is 423. So he does have 3 chapters of the batch after this fully sent over to Shonen Jump, to Shueisha. And he does have most of the character inking and all of the, you know, blueprints and storyboarding and everything done up until I think like 434 or 435. He's just basically, he's sending off like to assistants for background work. You know, you're also, you know, penning and, you know, putting in the dialogue boxes afterwards and putting the text. There's a lot of other things that go into the chapter as well. So like, it's not just all him. So yeah. I'm pretty certain when it comes to writing, he has said that he's already 50 chapters ahead as of where we were when he last made that statement. So I think last batch, he said he was already aware and had basically everything planned out for the next 50 chapters. So I think at least up to like 450, which is why he's able to continue working and stuff like that. I think... there are, yeah, you know, I kind of lost my train of thought entirely, but yeah, he's way ahead. He's way ahead when it comes down to it. He's just got to actually put the work in. So he's always doing work. He's always doing stuff, always putting in stuff. We love Tagashi. Yeah, he's always working, you know? Like, look, we get the little sneak preview. Like, what's going on here? What's going on in this first page here? This looks crazy for 421. Number 427. He's way ahead. He's doing shit, you know? He finished this batch on February 24th. February 24th, he finished this batch. And now we're getting it in July. So took Shonen Jump about 4 months or so, 3 to 4 months to fast track everything. But yeah, look at that. Oh, Hiei confirmed. Why is no one talking about the disappearance of losers? Doesn't that kind of confirm Hulkenberg took his body? We talked about it a little bit in the previous, in the stream earlier. It definitely could mean that Hulkenberg took over Losers, but it could also mean that, like, he just said, hey, Rice, get me the fuck out of here, call the Mafia, and let's go. We don't necessarily know exactly where Losers is at all right now. He could just simply be with the Mafia. I think it's important that, like, again, I want to stress that, like, while I love the theories and while I love complex Hunter x Hunter, some things might be simpler than they appear. It's important to also bring up multiple possibilities. I don't like talking about theories as confirmations. I like talking about theories as possibilities. But yeah, y'all, I appreciate you guys all coming into the stream. I love you all. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Also, one thing that I want to bring up before we go, I was surprised. Someone in Discord sent this to me, showed this to me, or brought this up to my attention the other day. Some of you guys don't realize that this is the second channel, not the, like I have a main channel. I do actually have a main channel. Some of you guys, I guess you guys didn't know that. But I do make a bunch of other types of content, not just the chapter reviews. I dropped a video yesterday on KH1 Dark Riku. I make Limbus Company content, stuff like that. I just posted the channel link in stream. So if you guys had no idea that I have another channel, this is your chance. I post videos on this, like longer form video essays and gaming videos and other anime videos. I got a full video on JJK Phantom Parade, Trojan X, dispatch content, Pokemon content. There's a whole bunch of shit there. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, check out the main channel. Again, I just posted the link in the YouTube chat. KH missing link trailer review pog. Listen, I might controversial. I really don't. Maybe it's just copium that I don't want it to be real. I don't know, man. I think it's so weird to me that the missing link leak trailer, people have uploaded it, have monetized the upload, by the way, and are getting hundreds of thousands of views on it. And Square hasn't DMCA'd these people. We know in previous links that Square even reached out to the creators privately and said, please take these videos down. Please take these videos down. So, like, it's just weird to me. No announcement. No, like, hey, we had a leak. Sorry, guys. It's so weird. I'm not saying that it's AI. Because I feel like AI has made everybody forget that fan animations and fan trailers and stuff like that can still exist. Like, there are still, who's to say that someone didn't, do just a really fucking good job of fan animating, a fake trailer. Listen, it could be real. I'm just saying, your boy's a skeptic. And I just think there's weird things surrounding it. More theorizing of the drama itself than the trailer. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, who's the creator that held on to this, and did the creators actually secretly know about it and stuff like that? Like, the people that are on the front lines of the leak aren't the greatest people. Let's just say that. They're not, they don't seem like people that, like, I would be like, you know what? They seem like they have the best intentions at heart, and they seem like good people. It seems like they are the people that want this to be true more than anybody else. Like, they're constantly on the internet. I'm sorry, this is completely irrelevant to what everybody even cares or talks about, because you're all here for Hunter x Hunter, but not Kingdom Hearts. But, like, it's weird to me that all the people that are on the front lines of the leak here are the ones that are tossing the stones, being like, these creators kept this from you. We can't trust these creators. Fuck these creators. They really fucked us. I can't believe they did this. They've known about this for 2 years and they kept it from us. How dare they? And like, anybody that brings up any possible question or any kind of like blah 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 about the leak, like, they immediately quote tweet an attack, and they're like, look at this fucking idiot that doesn't believe it. How stupid are they? One, this is why I don't go on Twitter anymore, because it's just a cesspool of the worst types of people. And two, it's why, like, there's a stank on this, and I can't pinpoint what the stank is, but there's a stank. The smelly smell that smells smelly, but I can't tell you what that smell is, if that makes sense. It could be nothing, could just be a trailer, and Nomura went fucking LSD fever dream acid trip on Missing Link completely. But we got multiple betas of this game, and the cinematic trailer still looks nothing like the game that they put betas out for. It looks nothing like the game. The beta of the game has regular dark sides in it, not Kingdom Hearts 4 dark sides. There's not a spacesuit in sight for the beta. You're telling me that the spacesuit, I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox and I'm freaking out now. You're telling me that the spacesuit, the Keyblade wielders in spacesuits, was so important and integral to the plot line of Missing Link that they put it in the goddamn opening trailer, the opening cinematic of the game. But the first 4 chapters of the beta didn't talk shit nor hide or hair about it? What? That doesn't make no sense to me. If this is the core mechanic of the game and they fucking put it in the cinematic trailer, I feel like we would have known about the spacesuits earlier. Maybe I'm wrong. Some people are saying that, it's actually like a trailer from the end of Missing Link, and that's what it's showing, and that's why we didn't see anything in regards to the spacesuit. Which, like, sure, cool, like, that's a reasonable argument. And you also have people on Twitter that are like talking, like, I've got to show you what I'm talking about here. Some people say it might be KH4 stuff. Actually, now, Tails, I would believe that because I said this to Prodigy. Prodigy isn't in chat, I don't think. I don't think he's here right now. But I said this to Prodigy when he showed me the leak in the first place. Like I said, like, if you told me that this was Kingdom Hearts 4 content, I would believe you, and I'd be like, damn, they leaked Kingdom Hearts 4, like, that's crazy. They leaked secret, images and stuff. This tweet is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if you, Tails, I'm glad you said that because I fully agreed. Like, I'm like, the fact that this is Missing Link is where I think that it's weird. So this is the tweet that everyone was using for like, oh, this leaked video is real. Like, this is them going through the portal in the game. They did reference the space portal and them being in the spacesuits and them going through the portal. But why I think this is weird is because you can literally see our character here go into the portal, right? You see him, right? He's not wearing a spacesuit. He's not wearing a spacesuit here. He's just not wearing a spacesuit. It don't track. Let alone on top of that, let me just bring up a couple other things here while I'm on it, and I'll make this a segment on the live channel. Again, weird that we have a KH4 dark side here that has never been shown to be in Missing Link whatsoever. Just strange to me in general. Very strange to me. Like, look at, like, yeah, sure, you have them going down here. Look at these spacesuits. They don't, none of these, this doesn't look like Kingdom Hearts. And people are going to be like, oh, well, like, have you seen Quadratum? Have you seen whatever? Yes, but if these are Missing Link Keyblade wielders, where are the heart symbols everywhere? Where are the Keyblade symbols? There is a distinct Kingdom Hearts style to things, to characters in it, especially when it comes to the Keyblade wielders. There's the hearts, there's the crown symbolism, there's very specific Nomura-isms that Kingdom Hearts are part of, and these spacesuits have no Nomura-isms. They look weird. They just don't look right. It don't make sense. Let alone, they're all fighting with the Starlight Keyblade, and it's revealed to us in the beta, the real beta of the game, that the Starlight Keyblade is an ancient Keyblade that's no one uses. Do they all just get Starlights at the end of the game? Again, if this is an ending cutscene, then that might track. But even in the beta, they say that the Starlight is one of one because the player is the only one that has it because they haven't seen that Keyblade in forever. It doesn't make sense. Where's Disney? Thank you. Where are the official executives that are angry about this trailer coming out? It doesn't make sense to me. And also, like, this just doesn't, again, people have brought up that this is, the Scala ad Caelum, or like the special, language that Scala ad Caelum uses, which, fair. Again, if this is a fan animation, I would believe it. But again, I mean, they've got the Kingdom Hearts, they've got the little, they've got the little animatronics. I could be completely wrong. This just looks so weird and out of place. It doesn't look like a Kingdom Hearts game. And again, maybe that's just huge copium, and maybe I'm completely wrong. Because I don't want to upset anybody. This isn't me being like, oh, you losers are falling for it. Like, this could very much be real. It just, like, there's a stank. It feels weird to me. I hope I've explained my point. it's strange to me how this has just come out and how this has occurred. And like, it doesn't make sense to me that all these creators would just hide and hold on to this information and just not release it. And like, the weirdest thing is like the creators that supposedly did get notified about it and are coming out being like, oh, I've known about this for months. I'm sorry, who the fuck are you? No offense, but like, it's always like some YouTube channel or some Twitter follower with like 800 subs or 1,000 and I'm like, again, no offense, who are you? Why did you get shared the missing link trailer? But like Jared from the Gamers Joint, HMK, Skyward Wing, all of these humongous Kingdom Hearts creators that are bigger and have been around even longer than anyone, that like most likely would have gotten sent the video by someone in their community if it was really out there just trailing it doesn't pass the smell test. And again, maybe I'm just wrong. I'm openly willing to accept that. If D23 happens and this trailer gets shown and they're like, hey, this was the trailer we were planning to show, then I will fucking put the clown makeup on. I'll do a little jig and a dance for everyone on the internet to make fun of me and embarrass me. But like, I'm not putting my seal of approval on this one until I actually get some better confirmation. Because it just the whole situation seems weird to me, but that's just me. I could just be wrong. I've yapped long enough. I've complained long enough, and we're completely long off the topic of Hunter x Hunter. So, guys, I love you. I appreciate you. You're all great people. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Join the Discord if that sounds like something fun that you would want to do. And all y'all, be good. Have a good night. Have a good week. A good weekend. Stay frosty. And I'll see you guys in the next stream. Check out and wait for those chapter reviews if you missed the stream. And again, don't forget about the other No Operator channel. Please feel free to check out some content if you want more stuff to see, guys. Love y'all. You're all great. Appreciate you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.